Yes, Sir Hairless here. I hope you're having a wonderful festive season. Today we have a song called Merry Christmas by two absolutely humongous names, Elton John and Ed Sheeran. This video is from 4 years ago, surprisingly, but maybe it's not so surprising considering some of the other very famous songs that I've just never heard of. This was our last monthly members poll winner. The theme of that poll was Christmas. If you want to vote on these polls, you can do so by joining our Patreon completely free. In the video description here are the lyrics, which I'll put on screen now if you want to have a pause and a read of them. They're very standard Christmas related themes in there. Fire burning, kissing under the mistletoe, dancing, that kind of thing. So yeah, I think let's just jump on in and see what this song is about.
Build a fire and gather round the tree. Fill a glass and maybe come and sing with me. So kiss me under the mistletoe. Pour out the wine, let's toast and pray for December snow. I know there's been pain this year, but it's time to let it go. Next year you never know. But for now, Merry Christmas. We'll dance in the kitchen while embers glow. We've both known love, but this love we got is the best of all. I wish you could see it through my eyes, then you would know. My God, you look beautiful.
I was about to pause. We can't. I'm going to play a few more seconds. Is that Ed Sheeran?
And we'll all sing along to the song.
Ed Sheeran's getting a bit spicy there, huh? I wonder if this is some kind of cultural reference or something that I just have no idea about. Because to me, right now, that's just Ed Sheeran dressed in a little skimpy... Is that a Santa or Mrs. Claus maybe outfit? Anyway, well, I think I'll just give some initial thoughts on the song so far before we carry on. Pausing helps immensely with copyright. If I don't pause, my videos a listening or viewing alternative can get taken down. That's no use for anyone, is it? And I could get a copyright strike. So a few things. I want to go right back to the beginning, because there was something really surprising about this introduction. Introduction, by the way, I really like how it starts off with Ed Sheeran, some light piano accompaniment, and then we move into the actual song, and oh, what a lovely set. It's just, everything looks so cozy, so Christmassy. Christmas is just such a nice celebration. All right, I want to hear this again.
Build a fire and gather round the tree. Fill a glass and maybe come and sing with me.
Really nice and cozy, but it comes with a twist. There are some quite harsh dissonances in there. Right from the second chord.
Build a fire and gather round the tree.
On round there. I'm going to show some notes on the keyboard. Don't worry if you don't play the piano or don't know what the notes are. I will point out where the interesting things are and what makes them interesting. Like when you have notes right next to each other that cause these heavy clashes. So what we're hearing, we start off with this. And Ed's melody. Down the octave. And it's on that note there. What we're hearing, these three notes right next to each other. So that's really intense. Then it kind of carries on. Falling pattern in the bass line, a bit more dissonance. Falling again, more dissonance. So the bass line is essentially going... That's the dissonant part, and then... There's something really cozy about this descending bass line. But then in the chords above it, they're throwing in these dissonances. There's another one that comes in. So after we have... And then here. And then this chord, which is a G chord. Here's G. But it has this note in there as well, so we're kind of hearing... And then...
Fill a glass and maybe come and sing with me.
So that's all I've heard at this point, and I just think it's super, super interesting for a very contemporary, super popular song. Traditionally, modern popular music is not really that complex when it comes to the harmony, or at least they don't have these daring harmonic moves, these really scrunchy chords, clashes, which makes sense because they're a little bit more difficult to listen to. You don't want them everywhere. If a song's to be popular, it has to appeal to a lot of people. So hearing this right at the start in a really exposed part of the song, yeah, it just was very surprising to me. I like it. Now the sound becomes fuller, we have more instruments coming in, we can hear the electric bass coming in to give us that harmonic foundation. The strings coming in very nice. Really reminds me of Don't Go Breaking My Heart by Elton John and Kiki D. Unfortunately, I can't show any more because of copyright. But yeah, it's very similar stylistically in many ways, which is cool to see. The Elton John influence, right? The bass line, dum, 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 falling, just as I showed you with that introduction we had. I think I said I feel like these falling bass lines are cozy, but we also get that in the melody as well. Ed Sheeran had a really nice part.
This year, but it's time to let it go. Next year, you never know.
Falling, just falling, 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 repeating some of the notes. Repeating every note. Repetition, when done well, I always say, is extremely catchy. It makes us very familiar with the music. We can hear it once, we know it's going to repeat. We can start singing along. There aren't all these crazy jumps up and down everywhere.
Merry Christmas, we'll dance in the kitchen while embers glow. We've both known love.
We've got the bell tones coming in the background. Elton John's taken over the melody. We have some very, very subtle harmony in the background.
We got is the best of all.
I'll be curious to know whose voice that is. It could be Ed Sheeran singing in a kind of more blend or head voice. I also like how his eyes keep flickering to the music, stand part of the piano and then back to the camera. It's Elton John. He doesn't need to be looking at the piano when he can playing. So I think he's looking at the lyrics. Maybe should have done a bit more homework in learning them before filming the video. I'm only being half serious when I say that. Elton in, I don't think it's quite a matching tracksuit, but very similar.
Right now, Merry Christmas. The fire is raging.
Definitely not similar to what Ed is now wearing. I didn't really know what to expect, if it would be a slightly slower, cozier song or not, but seems to be quite upbeat and jolly. So yeah, let's continue.
On, and we'll all sing along to the song. Just having so much fun. While we're here, can we all spare a thought for the ones who have gone? Merry Christmas, everyone. So just keep kissing me under the mistletoe. Pour out the wine, let's toast and pray for December snow. I know there's been pain this year, but it's time to let it go. Next year you never know. For now, Merry Christmas. We'll dance in the kitchen while embers glow. We've both known love, but this love we got is the best of all. I wish you could see it through my eyes, then you would know. My God, you look beautiful right now. Merry Christmas. I feel it when it comes.
The classic Elton John glasses. I just spent a couple of minutes in a box just over here in which I have 20 pairs of sunglasses. I saw Elton John a few years ago at a music festival and I had some of those glasses. I think I've lost them. That's a shame. I could have worn them for the remainder of this video. Maybe I'll put a picture on the screen now. The video is very fun though, isn't it? You can focus on each individual person. We've got the Nutcracker over here, the Snowman,
Pour out the wine, let's toast and pray for December.
with some funky glasses on. Now, the Snowman is one of my favorite cartoons ever. Every Christmas we watch it. It's just so charming. I don't actually know if it's a popular thing outside of the UK. At the time of recording this, I have done a video walking in the air, but I've not yet released it. I asked the same thing in that, but because I haven't released it, I don't know what everyone said. And that was by Nightwish, a Finnish kind of metal band. So it's nice to see, but in this video, I'm wondering if there are going to be loads of other kind of cultural references that I am missing. So in terms of the arrangement, I was very intrigued by, you know, all the brass and the woodwind that
Merry
is here.
Christmas, we'll dance in the kitchen while embers glow. We've both known love, but this love we got is the best of all.
And we can really see the saxophonist going for it. alas, we don't hear any saxophone. Of course, I'm not saying we have to. It's clearly a fun video, but if we have those instruments, well, I don't, maybe naturally I'm just kind of listening out for them a bit more. The music compared to the verses the previous time we heard them, it's not too dissimilar. There are very few differences, and the differences I have noticed are quite subtle. If I just play the start of the first verse again.
So kiss me under the mistletoe, pour out the wine.
And now here.
Keep kissing me under the mistletoe, pour out the wine.
In the kind of pizzicato strings we're hearing, and the piano really, really high up, all quite quiet, quite subtle. There are loads of layers that we are hearing. There are some slight rhythmic differences, some more bell tones higher up to make it seem a bit more magical. And the snowman, if you haven't seen it, go watch it because it's just such a lovely magical cartoon. The bit that is really different, of course, is the chorus.
The fire is raging on, and we'll all sing along to the song.
It's constructed in a way, I think, anyway, that it's not meant to be complicated at all. It's just a very nice, simple melody that we can all sing along with. Really nicely placed in Ed Sheeran's range. I don't know him that well, to be honest, especially compared to most people in the world, but I have heard him sing a number of songs. I know that he has an incredible voice, really, really high chest voice. It makes it seem so easy.
Just having so much fun.
Choosing to sing with a lot of straight tone as well, which can have this effect of sounding a little bit auto-tuned. It's dangerous ever bringing that up in today's climate because people just attack you if you say, oh, there might be a bit of tuning here or there. But the reason for that is it's much more difficult to sing perfectly in tune using a straight tone without any vibrato, any of the wobbles, than using vibrato. So when you have someone who really is pitch perfect using straight tone, like perhaps Ed Sheeran here, then yeah, it almost sounds auto-tuned. It sounds a little bit not real just because you never really hear it. It's great to see Elton John boogieing away.
We all spare a thought for the ones who have gone.
His Santa hat is much smaller than mine, and he has a very rich, kind of slow vibrato. Like I say, I saw him live a couple of years ago. He still has it even at his age, and just naturally as you age, it becomes a bit difficult to sing higher. His vibrato is becoming much more slow as well and kind of rich in a way, and that is something you tend to notice with singers as they get older. And I do think it's really nice to see a collaboration between two absolute legends of the UK music scene. You know, maybe the two most famous British artists ever. Definitely up there. All right, let's carry on. We had sparkly Ed Sheeran running into the bushes.
Christmas, I feel it when it comes. Every year helping us carry on. Fill up with so much love. All the family and friends are together where we all belong. Merry Christmas, everyone. It's Christmas time for you and I.
When they were going across the screen, I couldn't quite see. I was thinking, is that Big Nasty and Michael McIntyre and Jonathan Wass over there in the background? Is there a reason those three are in here in particular, or is it just funny and they're friends in real life? If it's a cultural reference, again, whew, straight over my head, I apologize.
Merry Christmas, it's Christmas time for you and I. We'll have a good night and a Merry Christmas, it's Christmas time for you and I. We'll have a good night and a Merry Christmas, it's Christmas time for you and I. We'll have a good night and a Merry Christmas time.
Oh, nice way to end. That's a really nice photo, isn't it? I was trying to look out in the video to see if there are any other famous people, celebrities, and it was bugging me because I'm pretty confident that there are loads of cultural references. So I have just Googled it. There are loads, absolutely loads in there. Ed Sheeran, like that was Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You. I've never seen that video. The opening scene, David Bowie and Bing Crosby, Peace on Earth, Little Drummer Boy. On the sleigh ride, Shakin' Stevens, Merry Christmas, everyone. I don't think I've seen that video. And there are many, many more. It's a good thing I looked that up before ending this video. I know there'll be someone watching this banging their head against the table wondering, why I didn't pick up on them. Anyway, for that last section, not really any new musical ideas. Again, it's one of those songs where we're introduced slowly to the introduction, which was really nice, then the verse, then the chorus, and then the ideas repeat with a couple of other sections in there. Christmas songs, and if we're going much more traditional Christmas carols, one thing that I really like about them is how familiar you feel with them. One, because you hear them every year, but two, they tend to be kind of repetitive in ways. And the way this song is constructed, you know, it's very fun. It's not too wacky, not too crazy. Nice chord progressions, falling bass lines, repeating. We did get one change right before the end.
Merry Christmas time.
Just there. Instead of a falling bass, now we move it up. Which is a great way to end, you know, kind of moving up, rising up into this very grandiose finishing scene. Cool, well, that's a fun one. I honestly don't know if I should have heard this song before or not. I've not even heard of it. 93 million views on YouTube, so it definitely is a popular one. I apologize if I should have heard of it. Let me know if you knew it or if this is your first time hearing it. It was the poll winner after all, so clearly people do enjoy it. If you made it this far, hopefully you enjoyed the video as well. So if you did, please give a like, interact with the video. Comments really do help. Commenting an emoji is a very easy way to interact. Today's emojis will be Santa Claus and a disco ball for how Ed Sheeran was dressed at one point, and the disco ball for Elton John. Thank you once again. Hope you have the best Christmas, and I will see you in the next one.